These two young women came to us, referred by a solicitor actually, because they had encountered sexual harassment at their workplace. Kirstie and Courtney, two young sisters, like many teenagers, were working part-time, get a bit of spare cash, all the rest, and they're working in the Kentucky Fried Chicken outlet in Boucher Road, Belfast, owned by Herbel Restaurants, and they began to be subjected to sexual harassment by a male co-worker. That harassment constituted behaviour like verbal comments of a sexual nature, unwanted touching, unwanted lewd comments on occasion, and it made both individual young women feel very uncomfortable, feel threatened, created a very unpleasant working environment for them. They complained to their supervisor and to the management, but nothing was done about this male co-worker. Really, both individual women simply wanted the behaviour to stop in the first instance, but it got so bad that they both stopped going to work. They became ill and ultimately resigned, and at that point they decided they should seek advice about what to do, so they came to us via a solicitor. Once anyone complains to us of potential discrimination on any ground, we will provide them with advice. And actually, sex discrimination complaints constitute the second highest ground that people raise with us. And in sex discrimination claims, quite a high proportion are about sexual harassment. So when Kirstie and Courtney came to us initially, we provided them with information and advice about their rights. And we can, and in this instance we did, provide assistance to them to support them taking their case into the industrial tribunals, to take the company to claim that the company allowed them to be subject to sex discrimination. Once the case was lodged, then we're in the legal process and preparing the case for hearing, but ultimately Herbel Restaurants settled this case both with compensation for Kirstie and Courtney, to address the hurt and distress that they had suffered, but also importantly, the company agreed to work with the Equality Commission to ensure it has effective policies in place to deal with sexual harassment, and also effective implementation of those policies through, for example, staff training. And that's an important part of the settlement for the Equality Commission, so that not just Kirstie and Courtney are vindicated in standing up for their rights, which of course is very important, but also that the company will take seriously in the future anybody who raises complaints about sexual harassment at work. It is unacceptable that sexual harassment is still a feature of the workplace. There are still women who in the workplace are made to feel very uncomfortable, very threatened, very humiliated by co-workers' behaviours towards them. It's over 3 decades since the first case of sexual harassment was taken in Northern Ireland, the first time that sexual harassment was decided by the tribunals to be sex discrimination. And that's very important that we don't think that issues like this are dealt with. I remember very well the publicity around the first case of sexual harassment and how it was encouraging other women to come forward and raise complaints and say, actually, there should be zero tolerance of sexual harassment at work.